Okay, I've been getting a lot of viewer comments and requests to explain why it is so important to follow the regime when you exit a dry fast. And it's pretty simple, really. When you think about what's happened during the dry fast, you've gone into a complete system-wide regeneration. You've drawn upon your stem cell population to regenerate a lot of tissue, to reside in the niches and pump out signals to make all their adjacent cells act younger. When you think about what's happening to your GI tract, especially, this is why eating very slowly is very important. At the base of the villi, on top of the intestinal wall surface, are these little crypts, and inside the crypts are stem cells. And that's where stem cells create brand new epithelial cells that migrate up the surface to replace broken cells. It's 400 to 600 square meters of surface inside your esophagus, stomach, duodenum, lower intestines, upper intestines, all that stuff. And that's brand new tissue. Extremely, very sensitive brand new tissue, like a baby's skin. So when you want to introduce that to food, you want to do it slowly. And that's why we do the baking soda and water trick first, for two reasons. One, it drops you out of ketosis. The other is it provides sodium to prevent edema, swelling of tissue, because if you don't have the sodium on the channels for the cells in the intercellular fluids, water can't get into the cells, extracellular matrix fills up with fluids, and you get swelling and edema. Just drink a bunch of salt water and eat some salt. That'll go away pretty quickly. But avoid it. Just drink the sodium bicarbonate and water trick. It works great. Then you need to add potassium, because potassium and sodium are critical minerals that work together to make sure that your vascular system, your heart, and things work correctly. And so the coconut water provides lots of good potassium. And some sugar, because you need some sugars, because your mitochondria love sugar. The other thing is you want to take some magnesium, because during your dry fast, you've drawn upon your cell mitochondria to make ATP to stay alive. That's a lot of magnesium. It's draining lots of magnesium. That's why your muscles are kind of achy and tired too, because it's being devoted to making energy in the cells during autophagy, to fix things, to change organelles, to swap them out with new ones, to do all the stuff that happens during that time period to restore your body. When you think about what stem cells are probably the remnants of your embryogenesis, because during embryogenesis, the immune cells of your mother work with the stem cells to guide them to create you. And it's interesting that on the third day of a dry fast, your stem cell population goes into regeneration, and on the third day of a dry fast, your immune system is replaced with brand new immune cells out of the bone marrow. Because the immune cells and the stem cells are in a crosstalk with each other to guide them to where they need to go and instruct them as to what they need to do. It's fairly complex, but really important. So you want to make sure that those things are operating correctly. You bring in the bone broths, the vegetable broth, the vegetable stew broth, all that kind of stuff, meat stew broths, any kind of broth with an infusion of nutrients to gently wake up your digestive system. You don't want to put a bunch of solid food in there. You want to let the gastric juices come back alive from the lining of the stomach to be able to digest foods. The sodium and chlorine and the salt you're going to be eating and the broths and stuff will help restore the hydrochloric acid content in your stomach so you can dissolve food, which is extremely important for another reason I talk about in my next book. But that's why we do it. That's why these regimes have been designed to establish your electrolytes, to get some fluids back in you, to get some nutrients back in you, very slowly and gently, so your whole gastrointestinal tract doesn't freak out. And that's what you've done. You've created a brand new body inside and out, and you have the ability to treat it very gently, like a baby's skin. And that's why we do this. That's why it's so important. And I can't stress this enough. Shoshenikov says that exiting the dry fast is far more important than entering it. And this is why. Because you've depleted electrolytes, you've depleted all these stores and services that you've stored up in fat cells that are keeping you alive during a dry fast, which is why you have to have a certain amount of fat to even enter one. I'll get into that in another video. But that's the reason. The reason you want to follow the protocol is because you want to avoid any problems and bring this brand new body into existence, because it's a brand new you. You know, what happened before the dry fast is not who you are after the dry fast. So after the dry fast, you want to be able to make sure that you enter this new paradigm of life doing the right things.